So yeah, thanks for joining me, and let's start on our backs. We're gonna lie down on our backs and stretch yourself out the length of your mat. And bring your beautiful arms over your head. And take a good morning stretch. And as you are stretching, maybe you want to sparkle out your fingers and your toes. Take a couple more breaths as you're doing this. Maybe turn your head from side to side a couple of times as well, maybe a few more than a couple of times. You're still breathing in and out through your nose. And then bring your arms back down alongside your body. I'd like you to bring your arms into a cactus position, into elbows bent at 90 degrees, backs of the hands to the ground if you can. If your hands are floating in the air, then for sure, just stretch your arms out a little bit more. So I want you to definitely have the backs of the hands on the ground. And then just take a couple of breaths. I want you to really breathe into the upper chest area, breathe into your heart, open up your collarbones area. I want you to just let your shoulders pull back, and we're going to take a couple more breaths. So you're trying to have a nice open chest and heart right now. Make sure you're not clenching your teeth. Try to relax your neck. You may, again, want to just do a couple gentle turns of your head from side to side. That might feel nice. Try to soften your spine down towards the mat. It's okay if you have a curve in your back, that's all right, but just snuggle in here. And then I'd like you to close your eyes. And we're gonna take 5 really nice big deep breaths into the whole torso area. So I want you to be breathing in the upper chest, in the belly, lots of big breaths, breathing in through your nose, out through your nose. If that makes sense, you can always breathe out through your mouth. You're clearing your space, you're clearing your head, you're just getting used to breathing in a deep way, getting ready for your practice today. I want you to go for one more really big breath, breathing in, breathing out. And you can open up your eyes, relax your arms, bend your knees into your chest, and just start to roll around on your spine. You can rock from side to side. Maybe pull your knees a little wider apart if that feels good, because you know we're just starting, right? So let the body just gently begin to open up. We're going to bring both of our knees together if they're apart and stretch your legs up towards the ceiling or the sky, depending on where you're practicing. Give the backs of your legs some lovely love, some lovely love. Whatever. Give your legs some love. Massaging the love into the backs of the legs, and certainly starting to pedal out your feet, squeeze and release your toes, roll your ankles in circles. Hopefully feeling like you have a little more space in the backs of your legs. Things are starting to loosen up a little bit, and if they're not, that's okay. We are going to have lots more opportunity to do that. We're going to take 2 more breaths. And 1 more breath. And then I'd like you to bring your legs back down to the ground, bring your feet nice and wide on the outside edges of the mat. And we're going to start to drop our knees from side to side. And you can let your arms stretch away from you. You can bring your arms over your head. Maybe you just want to keep them in a little bit closer. But notice the pace that you are dropping your knees from side to side. Maybe the pace that I'm going is just a little too quick for you, and you're going to slow it down even more. Let's do this a few more times. We're just loosening up. You're going to feel the pull up into the back, the outsides of the legs. Maybe you're feeling it on your thighs and your knees. Who knows? All of this is good. I want you to keep breathing in and breathing out. Let's do one more drop from side to side, or at least until you feel like it's even. And then we're going to come back to center. I'd like you to bring your knees into your chest again. Maybe this time lifting your head and shoulders up off of the ground, and you can curl yourself into a little tiny ball. And then relax back down. Let's bring our feet to the ground, and we're going to let our knees open out to the sides. I want you to try to bring the soles of your feet together. Knees open out to the sides. If you want, you can rest your hands on the tops of the legs, or again, wherever feels good. So this can be a really tricky pose for a lot of people. We're going to just try and maintain this a little bit longer, really getting a nice stretch into the hips, relaxing your shoulders. Maybe even feeling the energy between the feet. So maybe even pressing the soles of the feet together a little more, and you have this circle of energy where you're connecting both sides of the body. Now, you can stay like this, especially if this is quite a lot and you're kind of at your max. Or we're going to do a little tiny bit of abdominal work here if you want. We're going to take our hands behind our head, interlace our fingers. Try and keep your elbows open nice and wide. We're going to try to have a nice space between the chin and the chest. And we're going to lift our head and shoulders up, and let's hold here. We're going to hold here nice and strong, maybe trying to lift your shoulder blades off of the ground if that's possible. You're definitely engaging the core muscles in. Holding here a little bit longer. And now we're going to pulse. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding, keeping the head resting in the hands, pushing the feet together for that little extra bit of energy, as we talked about earlier. And now let's pulse again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to do one more round here, one more set of holding and then pulsing, but you're strong, strong, strong. You're drawing those belly muscles in. So let's pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just relax your head and shoulders down. The legs might feel really, really kind of, creaky here. So give them some patience, have some patience with them as you bring your knees in. And then we're going to have one hand on the top of each knee. And I want you to push your knees away from the body. And then we're going to draw big circles. We're going to just try to stretch out and release any tightness in those hip flexors, other parts of the hips for sure. You might be feeling it. Maybe even you're feeling it in your outside hip muscles. So just doing a couple more circles, and then let's reverse the circles. And of course, if doing the knees like this, if doing the circles doesn't make sense, of course, you can always keep them together. Whatever is working for you is all good. So we'll do one more circle. And then one more time, let's bring our legs up into the air towards the sky or the ceiling. Push your heels up this time. So now you have your feet flexed. You might feel just a deeper pull in the backs of the legs. And then we're going to just do a little bit of additional abdominal work here, focusing a little bit on the side body this time. So lifting your head and shoulders off of the ground, reaching your arms forward. Now, if this doesn't work for your head, of course, you can go back to just resting your hands behind your head and having some support. But if you're able to, We're going to have the arms with the palms facing up. I want you to imagine that you have sesame seed toasted bagels in this hand and gluten-free everything bagels in this hand. And you're going to reach the sesame seed bagels to the right and then reach the gluten-free bagels. And then we're just going to reach, and they're nut-free as well. And reaching and reaching. You're keeping your core pulled in, holding here, passing the bagels off to people. Maybe thinking about the type of topping that you have. So on one sesame seed, I have cream cheese. On the everything gluten, I have butter and strawberry jam. Actually, no, I don't. That wouldn't taste good, just butter. Okay. One more time either side, and then we're going to hold here, maybe trying to release your neck again. Again, if it's hurting, just take your hands behind your head. I want you to push your low back into the ground, draw your abdominals in, draw your pelvic floor in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax the head and shoulders down. Bring your legs down to the ground, stretch them out, and we're just going to let our neck release for a moment. So again, you may want to just do a couple little gentle turns from side to side. Okay, so you've done a little bit of warming up stuff. Let's bring ourselves up and forward, however you want to do that. We're going to come all the way forward onto our hands and our knees, coming into a tabletop. And I want you to release into some cat and some cow, stretching out your back and your neck, and of course, the abdominals. You're taking big breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. We'll do one more of each. And then let's start to push our hips from side to side. And I want you to really start to twist it up. So go into your version of what a beautiful twist on your hands and knees would be, whatever that is for you. Maybe you're, bringing your tailbone down to the ground a bit more, like anything goes here. Maybe your arms are really moving. Anything goes. Let's take one more breath. And then I'd like us to just take a moment to stretch our wrists. So take your palms to the ground and just turn your fingers toward you. You can always do this one at a time, no problem. Fingers are spread nice and wide. And you can just start to rock gently forward and back, or maybe side to side. If that's too much, then just stay like this, of course. If you feel it, then you're doing it. So just taking another couple of breaths. Maybe you want to intensify it a bit more and do a cat stretch in this posture. It's all up to you. And then we're going to curl the toes under and then just lean back, sitting on your heels if you can, and just gently shake out and roll out your wrists. Very, very gentle. Maybe do a flick. And then we're going to come back down onto the ground. This time, backs of the hands facing, with your backs of the hands on the ground with your fingers facing you. So of course, one at a time, hands, you can always do that. This is a little more intense for a lot of people. Maybe curl your fingers up, making fists. I don't know, some people can rock from side to side. I find that really hard to do. Anyways, whatever you need to do, right? You want to be feeling it. Let's take another breath. And then, once again, we're going to sit back on the heels, toes are curled under, just shake out the arms. And then let's take our hands behind the back, nice big stretch. Maybe turn the head from side to side. And bring your hands to the ground. We're going to tap out the feet, maybe squeeze and release the toes, roll the ankles a little bit. Amazing. Let's come onto our forearms. And I want you to relax your head and your neck. keeping the abdominal muscles nice and strong. We're going to do a little bit of work here to build our back and our belly and also our arms. So I want you to really make sure that you don't drop in between your shoulders. You're going to stay strong and broad in your back. We're going to take the right leg. I want you to bend the knee at 90 degrees, foot pointing, top of the foot pointing to the ceiling, and we're going to just hold here. You're going to try to even out your hips. So you probably feel like one side is, you're leaning more on one side. I want you to try to even that out as best as possible. You're thinking of all of these cues that I've given you. Taking another breath. Feel the arms maybe starting to quiver a little bit. I don't know, maybe, mine are. Lots of work happening here. We're still holding the leg. We're going to get a little fancier with this. We're going to start to pulse towards the ceiling. Pulse, 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 pulse. Now I want you to engage your glute muscle, so squeeze your buttock muscle every time you pulse your foot towards the ceiling. So get a nice strong push to the ceiling and engage each time you pulse, engage the muscle. So we're holding here, trying to keep the hips level. Let's stay here a little bit longer, pushing your heel up to the ceiling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, if you're still with me, I want you to extend the leg out. Flex through the foot, toes pointing down. Try to level off your hips again. Work on that. You're floating the leg in the air. We're going to stay here a little bit longer. Now, you can always bring your foot to the ground. This is probably the added spice on the side part here. If you want a little bit more, I want you to take your leg out to the right, hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your leg back, lower the knee down. Let's go into a wide knees child's pose. Ease yourself back and take a nice big breath through the arms. You certainly will working your arms. Let's keep the right arm forward and stretch the left arm back. You can have either the palm down or facing up, whatever works for your arms, but you're going to just sort of try to really reach a little further with that right arm. And you're just letting your left arm have a bit of a break for a moment. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So that now the right arm, the shoulder, has a little bit of a break. But now you're going to take a big super stretch through the left arm. Okay, let's bring the arms back onto our forearms. Again, setting everything up. You remember all the cues. You're staying strong. You know that this is the last leg that we're doing because we only have 2. So you're going to float your left leg up. Even out your hips. Core is strong. You're remembering to breathe. You're not clenching your teeth. Maybe it will help if you turn the corners of your mouth up. So we're still holding, and we're going to start to pulse, 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 pulse. Nice and strong, engaging your glute muscle, perhaps even the hamstring you're squeezing as you do this. And we're pulse, 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 pulse. Keep trying to gauge if your one hip is lifting up higher than the other, trying to the best of your ability to keep them level. And we'll do this now for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now extend the leg out. We're going to hold it here, readjust your hips, keep the arms strong, holding here. Nice big breath. You are maybe feeling like you're going to kick your heel through an imaginary wall. Take one more breath. Bring the leg out to the left, as far to the left as you can. You want to really tax your muscles here. Holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back and release the leg down. And ease yourself back into a wide knees child's pose. Just taking a stretch through the arms. And then we'll keep the left arm forward this time. It doesn't matter which one. And right arm relaxes back. And then we'll switch. And then bring both arms forward. And then if you have your book or your block, or any, book or block, bringing your hands to the prop. If you don't have it, don't worry. I'm going to show both ways. Bringing your hands to your prop. And I want you to really, you're going to bring your knees in a little bit closer. I want you to sit your hips back and just stretch into the back of the body, into the glute area, into the low back. And you're just going to take a big, big stretch. If you don't have the prop, that's okay. You can, you know what, you can kind of, you very much get almost exactly the same thing without the prop. It just has you up a little bit higher. So it's all good. One more breath. And then let's release. We're going to come into a tabletop position again. I want you to bring your right hand underneath your face, directly underneath your face. Take your left arm out to shoulder height. We're going to start to stretch up with the left arm. If it's available, you can look up at your hand, but don't worry about that with your head. Don't strain your neck. You're just wanting to get a big, big stretch into your shoulders, into your back. One more breath, and then take that arm and scoop it under, coming down on your left side. Trying to let your head rest on the ground. I'm always careful because I have these AirPods in and I don't want to push into the ground with them. So I might look like I'm hovering a little bit, but you're going to try to rest your head on the ground. You can take your right arm and drape it behind your back. I actually just want to check one thing here as you guys are stretching. Take another breath. Okay. And release. Bring yourself back up into a tabletop position. Take your left hand, bring it underneath your face. Right arm is out to shoulder height. Start to reach up towards the ceiling with your right hand. And again, it's all about how much you can reach up and where you feel that stretch. Don't worry about looking up at your hand. Take another breath. Really open up your back. And then scoop the arm under. You're going to come down on the right side of your head. You can take your left arm behind your back. And you're going to breathe. Take another breath. And release everything, bringing yourself back up into tabletop position. And guess what? It is time for downward facing dog. So make your way up there into downward dog. And of course, if you know, remember the options, you can stay on your hands and knees. You can come into child's pose. These are brilliant options. We're going to stay here in downward facing dog for about 60 seconds from this point on. I want you to be pedaling out your legs, releasing your neck and your jaw. You're going to stay here and just breathe in and breathe out. I'd like you to please keep in your downward dog or in your modified position and take a few more breaths. I need to look at my computer one more time. Okay, everyone is breathing. So if you are in downward dog, let's come up nice and high on the tiptoes. Push your tailbone up towards the ceiling and then sink down through your heels any amount. We're going to do that again. Inhale, lifting up nice and high. Pushing your tailbone up and sink down through your heels any amount. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lifting up and sink down through the heels. And then let's come down into either a child's pose position if you want to just release some pressure on the wrists and just rest here, or if you want more spice, we're going to come into a high plank. So you decide. High plank, people, we are going to hold here. We are going to hold here, and if you even want some more spice, we're going to tap our opposite shoulder with our hand. So you can be here in a regular plank, you can be tapping, you can be in child's pose, you can be in tabletop. Maybe you've left. Maybe you've gone to get a cup of coffee, I don't know. Now, if you are doing the tapping, I want you to try to not do what I'm doing, which is I'm kind of rocking a little bit. You're trying to stay as still as you possibly can. I'm always working on this myself. As still as you possibly can for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then let's come down into child's pose. Give your wrists a little roll. And then from here, we're going to slither forward onto our bellies. I want you to take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, stretch the arms away from you, and then we're going to peel up through the chest. Neck is nice and long. If you want to peel up through the, or lift up through the legs as well, you can. Holding here. Nice big breath. Maybe switch the lacing of your fingers, and we're going to hold just a little second longer. Big breath. And release down. Bring your hands beside your low ribs. Curl your toes under. Press back into child's pose. Either staying here or come up into downward facing dog. Let's take 2 breaths. And we're going to look forward to the top of the mat. So if you're in child's pose, bring yourself up into downward dog when you're ready. We're going to look forward to the top of the mat. You can walk, step, or hop. So hop, of course, falls under the category of spice. Go for it, spicy. And lengthening into a flat back, folding forward. Let's take an extra little dangle here. Roll your wrists one more time. Keep your belly muscles nice and strong. Roll yourself up. Good. Roll your shoulders forward and back. Maybe turn your head. Perhaps even take a little bit of a sway. Okay, so we are going to do some flowing. We are going to stand at the top of the mat. I'd like you please to bring your feet close together, bending your knees, fingertips brushing the ground, arms reaching up. Pull your knees back so that you can see your big toes and keep your core nice and strong. We're going to hold here. If you need, always feel free to bring your hands down, especially if you feel pull in the neck. You can always do things like this as well, but obviously the most work involved is bringing the arms up. And you're going to really think about trying to sit down, but keep the chest floating forward. So we don't want to do this. We want to stay shining the heart forward. And I want you to start to feel your legs really working here. Maybe if your legs are close together, maybe squeezing the thighs together. If they're apart, just engaging the thigh muscles. Holding here. Bring your hands to your heart. We're going to twist to the right. You can tuck your elbow on the outside of the left leg, sorry, right leg. Maybe bringing your arms up, but everybody keeping your knees pointing forward. Bring your hands together, come back, chair pose, Utkatasana, holding here a little bit longer, nice and strong. Big breath in, big breath out, bring your hands to your heart, twist to the left. Maybe open up the arms. Always careful about the knees though, holding here. And back to center, arms up, one more breath, hands to the heart, bow forward. Give your legs a little pedal, you might need it. And then hands to the ground, we're gonna step back into downward facing dog. You can, again, just walk your legs out for a moment. I want you to make sure you have your fingers spread nice and wide. You're gripping down on your finger pads. We're gonna take the right leg, and I want you to stretch it straight up towards the ceiling. Doesn't matter how it looks, it's to whatever you feel like is straight, because you're getting a nice stretch in the back of the left leg. Maybe sink down through your left heel a little bit more. And now we're gonna bend the knee, the right knee, and open up your hip. So you're trying to stack your right hip on your left. You're gonna notice maybe that the weight dumps into one arm. Keep your arms equal with the weight. Hold for one more breath. And then we're gonna pull the knee into the belly. Round your back knee to nose. Sweep the leg back up in the air and step your foot up between your hands. Coming down on your left knee. Taking a breather here. Bring the arms straight up in the air. Take another breath. We're going to bring our left hand inside the right foot, twist to the right. Take your right arm behind your back if you'd like. Come back to center, bring both hands down, stretch out your right leg. Maybe take a couple point and flexes of the foot. Slide that right leg back, maybe staying in tabletop if you want, or coming up into downward dog, or come forward to a high plank where we are going to hold this for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring yourself back up into downward facing dog. So joining in downward dog when you're ready. Take your left leg, reach it straight up towards the ceiling so you're getting that length in the back of the right leg. Holding here. And then you're going to bend your knee and open up your hip. So you feel like you're maybe twisting your body open, but your left hip is trying to stack on top of your right hip. And remember to keep the arms strong. Try not to dump all the weight in one side. One more breath. Pull your knee into your belly, rounding your back knee to nose. Sweep the leg back up in the air. And now step your foot up between your hands, coming down on your right knee. And when you're ready, bringing your hands up and maybe bringing the arms up. And just taking a couple breaths. It's kind of a recovery posture here, but also a really lovely stretch in your hips and strengthening the arms. Okay. Let's bring our right hand down inside the foot. We're going to twist to the left. You can always bring your hand behind your back if you want. One more breath. Bring your hands down, both hands down either side of the foot, and stretch out the leg. And we'll point and flex the foot to your heart's desire, making it feel nice. Okay, so you can stay like this, of course, as long as you want, or bring your leg back. Coming into a tabletop position, maybe pushing your hips from side to side, maybe coming up into downward facing dog, where you can, of course, pedal out your legs, or high plank, holding here. Engage the thighs, draw the belly muscles in, push back through the heels for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time we're going to lower down to the belly. And tops of the feet to the mat. Interlace your hands behind your back again. Stretch through the chest, lifting up through the chest if that feels okay. Float up through the feet. So nice long body. I'm reaching from my toes all the way through to the crown of my head. One more breath. And relax back down. Bring your hands beside your low ribs. Curl your toes under. And bring yourself back into child's pose. Or, if you want, stay in downward dog. All good. We're going to take 5 breaths here. Downward dog. People, if you need some more, take a couple vinyasas. So lowering down, coming up into cobra, upward dog, downward facing dog. So doing those at your own pace. Again, maybe you're in child's pose and you're giving your wrists a lovely little roll. It's all good. We have 2 more breaths to go. We're going to move around a little bit more. We're going to add on to this sequence. Okay, so bring yourself up into downward facing dog when you are ready. And this time, let's walk our hands back to our feet. Take another dangle forward. Really make sure your neck feels very juicy and long. You're keeping your belly muscles pulled in. Maybe walking your fingers over to one side, walking your fingers over to the other side. All of these things generally feel good. And then come back to center. We're going to roll ourselves up bone by bone. And here we are at the back of the mat, rolling our shoulders out. Okay, so we're going to add on, as I've been saying, and I'll give some options here and there. All right, bring your feet nice and close together. We're going to bend our knees, fingertips brush the ground, arms reaching up, coming into our reprised chair pose. Pull your knees back, lots of weight in your heels, maybe even lifting up your toes. Super relaxed neck and jaw. Bring your hands to your heart, twist to the right. Take the variation that you want. Just try to really keep your knees pointing forward. Remember, you also can just, you don't have to tuck the arm. You can stay twisting through the torso. Come back to center, arms up, hands to the heart, twist to the left. Come back to center, arms back up, bring your hands together, folding forward. Lengthening into a flat back, maybe the hands are on the shins or fingertips on the ground. Fold forward, walk yourself up the mat into downward facing dog. If you want to sneak in a quick high plank, go for it, and then go back into downward dog. Your right leg comes up in the air, bend the knee open, take a nice big opening stretch into your hip, pull your knee into your belly, rounding your back knee to nose, sweep the leg up in the air. We're gonna step our right foot up between our hands, come down on your left heel, toes off to the side, and we're gonna come up into warrior two. So your right arm is forward, your right knee is bent, you can see your big toe on your right foot. Warrior two, I want you to activate your super strong legs. They're definitely warm, and we're gonna hold here. So the arms are working for sure. There's lots of strength involved with holding your arms out. This is how you can definitely tone and increase power in your arms just by doing a warrior pose. We're gonna stay here for another moment. Flip your palm, sweep back, reverse warrior. Gives you a nice chance to stretch into your right side body. Come back into warrior two. Straighten out your front knee. Reaching forward, we're gonna come into triangle. So this is where you might want to use your block. And then for those that want to, with or without your block, you can take your left hand to your hip. So this is more challenging. Bring your hand to the ground or to the prop. We're going to pick up the back leg, opening up. Foot is flexed, nice and long, and bring your left arm up in the air. This is half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. Very strong leg. Some of you are maybe even working on taking your hand off of the ground and holding and balancing. We'll take one more breath. So whether you're in triangle pose or half moon, let's bring ourselves back as gracefully as we can into our warrior pose. That's a hard part. And then bring your hands to your hips. We're gonna pivot our toes so that we're turning to the left, all 10 toes pointing to the left. Bring yourself forward and just fold forward here. Draw your belly muscles in. This is very good for strengthening the core when you fold forward and you engage the muscles. And then let's walk our fingers over to the right side. Nice long left leg. Walk your fingers over to the left side. And then we'll come back to center. Bring your hands to your hips, coming into a flat back, and lift all the rest of the way up. And take a breath. You might feel a little dizzy, very normal. Bring yourself back into warrior two. So right hand forward, right knee bent. Windmill your hands either side of the front foot. Step back into either downward dog or high plank. High plank, people, let's go for it. Either staying here for count of 10 or we're gonna tap the shoulders. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll lower down in our tricep push-up, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward dog, and downward facing dog. Okay, let's walk our hands back to our feet when you're ready. Bring your feet closer together, bending your knees, fingertips touching the ground. We'll close off our sequence, hands to the heart, straightening out the legs. Closing off the way we started. Okay, we're gonna do that on the other side. Feet and legs close together, as close as you can get them, that feels comfortable for you. We're gonna bend our knees, reach the arms forward. Let's take another variation here. Not variation, another option of this posture. Pull your knees back, super strong, nice strong core. Bring your hands to your heart, twist to the left this time. So take the version that works for you. Arms, maybe twisting through the core. We're all trying to keep our knees pointing forward. Come back to center, arms, reaching forward. Hands to the heart, twisting to the right. One more breath. Come back to center, arms reaching out, and then hands together, folding forward, lengthening to a flat back. Bring your hands to the ground, walk yourself up into downward facing dog. Make it happen if you want a little more. Float forward to a high plank, pull back into downward dog. From downward dog, we're gonna take our left leg, reach it up in the air, bend the knee open. Pull the knee into the belly, rounding the back knee to nose. Sweep the leg up in the air. Step your foot up between your hands. Plant down through your right heel, toes are off to the side, and we're gonna come up into warrior two. I'm just gonna switch so that my back is not to you. So your left knee is bent, left arm gazing over the left hand, right arm stretching back. And we'll just take a moment here to kind of take stock of what we're doing. Nice to just pause for a minute and check out the alignment. So I've said this before, you can have your heel, your front leg heel lined up to your back foot heel or to your arch. Lots of teachers teach it heel to arch, and I was trained that way initially, but I like to also give the option of, as other teachers do, heel to heel. It gives you a little bit more space in your hips. So another big breath. Flip your left palm, sweep back away from the front knee. Nice big breath, super strong leg still. Come back into warrior two. We're gonna straighten out the front knee, reaching long from the waist, coming into triangle. So your variation here, your hand might be on your shin, maybe you're trying to reach your big toe, that's more in the Ashtanga tradition. Now you can stay like this a little bit longer, or for those that wanna work on half moon, a more advanced pose, right hand to your hip. You're gonna bring your hand to the ground or to your block in front of your left foot. I don't have a block on this side. The thing that I want everyone to think about who's trying this pose is you have a very strong floating leg. In your peripheral vision, you should be able to see your toes floating in the air. You're opening up the chest in the very similar to what we just did with triangle, and then maybe your right arm goes up in the air. Take one more breath. And now for me, the hardest part, bring yourself back gracefully into warrior two, unless you were in triangle, it's perhaps a little bit easier. Take a breath, and then we're going to bring our hands to our hips, pivoting our toes. So you're turning to all the same side with your toes. I'm now mixed up because I reversed myself, but anyways. It's all good. Take your hands behind your back, nice big stretch, and fold forward. Draw your abdominal muscles in again. We want to get the benefits of these forward folds into our toning and strengthening of our core. And then you can release your hands if you'd like, bring them to the ground. And we're going to do that same pose that we did before, but maybe a little more deeply. So you can walk your hands to the right or left side, it doesn't matter. Bending into a knee, your opposite leg will be stretched out, and you can point your toes to the ceiling. This pose is called Skandasana. And then we'll come back and we'll go to the other side. Maybe one more time. And back again to even it out. Come back to center, bring your hands to your hips. Come into a flat back and then bring yourself up slowly. We're gonna go back into warrior two to close this off. Windmill your hands either side of the front foot. Bring your hands to the ground. Step back either into downward dog or high plank. High plank people, you want a little more spice. It's the habanero spice edition. We're gonna tap, tap for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lower down in chaturanga, coming up into cobra or upward dog, and downward facing dog, or child's pose, or tabletop. Or maybe it's grab a glass of water or a sip of water for a moment. So any variation here, if you want to be holding a high plank for another moment, go for it. Okay. We are going to begin to cool this down a little bit. So let's bring ourselves into, So if you're in downward dog and you want to take one more flow, no problem. Let's bring ourselves to our mat to a seated position. And we're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to have another option to just do a last little bit of abdominal work here. So we're going to hold here with our leaning back through our spine so we can feel the engagement of the belly muscles and the back muscles. You can release your arms if you want, that's more challenging. Let's hold here, leaning back a little bit more if you can. Your back is nice and straight, your neck is soft. So we're going to alternate right leg, left leg, right leg, left leg. I want you to keep your belly muscles engaged, draw your pelvic floor in, and we're just doing a nice little soft tap of the feet on the ground. We're going to stay here, one more on either side, and then you can keep alternating, or of course you can stop at any time, or both legs up. We're going to hold here. Remember how we were engaging our thighs so many times in that pose that you probably were starting to hate me for having us do, our chair pose, Utkatasana? Use your muscles here. Engage your muscles. Use your power. Everything has a purpose. Everything that we practice, even if we hate it at the time, it's going to make you stronger. I promise you. With practice, it will come. Let's keep staying here a little bit longer for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your feet down to the ground. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let's take a very lovely forward fold. Round your back. Tuck your chin into your chest if that feels good. Maybe press your elbows inside your legs. And we'll bring ourselves back up. Let's lift ourselves or bring ourselves up to a seated position, as you were, pretty much. Have your left leg stretched out. Bring your right foot inside the left thigh. Knee is bent. We're going to bring the arms up in the air. Inhale, exhale, folding forward. I want you to lengthen through your spine, stretching out, and then sink down more deeply. We're going to do that again. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, soften. One more time. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and soften. Let's lift ourselves back up. We're going to take our right foot, step it over the leg, and twist to the right. I know I always say this in my classes that I teach, like live, back in the old days. And I'm sure I said this on these Saturday classes as well, but this pose is a pose that I almost always teach in any style of class, like a fast, a slow, it's just such a good pose. So we're breathing here, we're getting a nice twist into the leg, the back. You're lifting up nice and tall through the crown of your head. One more breath. And then we'll come back to center. Let your right knee rest on your left knee. Keep your foot flexed, your left foot flexed. And we'll come forward one more time to stretch out the back of the leg. Feeling it perhaps in your ankle, your calf muscle. And we'll come back up, release the legs. Maybe give them a little shake. We're going to do the other side. I will turn my position. So your right leg is stretched out. You're going to bend your left leg in. Foot is inside the thigh. Bring your arms up in the air. Inhale and exhale, grabbing what you can. And then pull yourself longer. And then pull yourself in a little more deeply. So we're going to inhale and lengthen. And exhale, soften. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and soften. Let's come all the way back up. Take your foot, step it over, twist to the left towards your bent knee. Pull yourself up nice and tall. Feel the nice opening that you're getting. Make sure you're breathing, nice big deep breaths. We're going to take another breath like this. And then we'll come back to center. Let your knee rest on your bottom knee. Foot is flexed, fold forward. Take a nice big breath. And let's come all the way back up. You can release your legs. If you have your book or your block and you want to try something, you can bring it to the bottom of your feet and fold yourself forward. It's okay if your knees are bent. If you don't have your prop, that's okay. Just do any type of forward fold. It's just it's an interesting option to try things a little different with the props. It's up to you. We are all in a forward fold. It's okay if your back is rounding. It's okay if your knees are bent. I want you to take 5 big breaths here. When we fold like this, it's as we fold inwards and we have this flexion in our spine, it is a calming position. It is stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, so it's calming to us, which we want to be doing now at the end of our practice, and also cooling ourselves down. Okay, one more breath. We're going to bring ourselves back up, and I'd like you to bring yourself onto your back, bringing your knees into your chest, starting to maybe roll around on your low back, your tailbone. Maybe coming into a happy baby, so either reaching for the outside edges of the feet or the ankles, or grabbing the knees, whatever feels good for you. Let's take another 2 breaths. We'll bring our feet back down to the ground. Knees are bent. Let's have our hands alongside the body. We're going to lift our hips up and just take a nice big stretch, stretching into the tops of the legs, into the belly. You can engage your glute muscles if you want, lifting yourself up. One more breath. And relax back down. Let's take our right foot and cross it over the left thigh. Bend your legs towards you. Grab your left thigh, thread the needle. Did lots of work on your legs today. Actually, did a lot of work everywhere today. Good for you. Good job. You get the nice benefits now of having your heated up muscles go through a nice stretchy, longer held pose. So remember to always keep your foot flexed. For the last couple seconds, if you haven't done this already, maybe you have, you can start to just roll, extend your leg up in the air and roll your ankle. And then we're going to release the legs, bring them down to the ground. We'll switch opposite side, coming into our thread the needle. Really let your back try to stretch out and melt into the floor. You want to really think about getting all of your low back as much as you can, just letting it press into the ground, letting it release into the ground. Nice big breath. We'll take one more breath like this, and then we'll, if you want, stretch the right leg up in the air, maybe give the ankles. And release the leg back down. Just for a moment, we'll stretch our legs out just to let them relax for a minute. We've been moving around. We haven't really stopped to let them stretch out. So just give that a second. We're going to, of course, take a rest in a moment, but Maybe giving them a little shake, just noticing how they're feeling. Let's bring bending our legs again, bring our feet to the outside edges of the mat. We'll drop the knees from side to side. Maybe bring the arms over the head, and if you want, you can kind of, as you drop your knees to the side, you can pull on the opposite wrist, and then you're just pulling the stretch into the side of the body. So you can do that once or twice, and then we'll come back to center. Bend your knees in one more time, rounding your back, and then either taking your prop if you have it and placing it underneath your tailbone and elevating your legs, or you can do that without the prop. It's all good as well. Or maybe you're coming up into shoulder stand. You practice that. And for some of you, if you prefer to not elevate the legs, you can always take a bridge pose as well. So wherever you are at, wherever you've chosen to be, let's take 8 more breaths. And you know what? The elevated legs people as well, remember you can always do things like bring the legs into a V. Maybe you want to hold them like that. Just do what makes sense for you. Do what feels comfortable. Do what is helping you to close your practice. So we're going to take 3 more breaths. And one last breath, starting to bring yourself back down to the ground. We're going to let our body come down to the ground. I want you to stretch your legs out again. Taking a breath. We're going to do one last twist just to make sure that we've released our back and we are really prepared for taking a rest. So we'll bend our left leg in, left or right, it doesn't matter. Hand on the knee, bring the leg across the body. If you so desire, stretch your left arm away from you and look towards the left. If you're with the right leg, you're going to look towards the right. Really take a good breath into your undersides of the arms. Make sure your teeth are not clenched, super relaxed neck and jaw. And then we'll come back and we're just going to switch the legs. Lots of big breaths into your belly. Remember at the very beginning when we practiced, when our legs were in butterfly position, knees were open out to the sides, and I said breathe into your torso. And maybe if you recall doing that, just note how it felt when you did that. And now as you're breathing, does it feel any different? Do you have more ease of breath? Do you feel more open and spacious in your body? Do you feel more relaxed? Okay, let's come back to center and release the leg. And I want you to just take a few moments here to let everything absorb in your body. So we're going to close the eyes. This is the most important part of your practice, letting your brain, your muscles download everything you've just done. So closing your eyes, relaxing your facial muscles, letting your legs release. We're going to stay here a little tiny bit longer. So starting to bring your awareness back to your body. You can start to put some movement in your fingers and in your toes. Maybe turning your head from side to side. And then I'd like you to bring your arms over your head, and we are going to take our most favorite Saturday, July 4th stretch we've ever taken. I want you to release all the way through your fingers, sparkling them out, and then stretch all the way down your body, out your toes. And then we're going to take a nice big breath in and exhaling it all out through the mouth. And we'll do that again. A nice big breath in and releasing it all out through your mouth. And then when you are ready, you can slowly start to roll over to your right side. And you can start to lift yourself up, coming up to a seated position. Rosie was shy today. She wanted to sleep off camera, but I brought her here for the end. She's snoring. She's happy. I hope you guys are happy. I hope even though there was a little bit of spice today, a lot of spice at some points, I hope that you are able to use your dosage of your spice, sprinkling it on as you needed. And I hope you now feel good and ready for the rest of your day. So I want to say thank you so much for practicing with me. I'm going to post this on YouTube, and I have classes on Wednesdays and Thursdays. If you want more details, let me know. And if you have any questions, please always reach out to me. Follow me on YouTube. Pass the info around. I'm happy to share. So thank you again, everybody. Have a wonderful Saturday, and namaste.